Hey, welcome back to the worm. My brain is flooded. It's just swimming with ideas for different stuff I gotta do. I need like 3 of me right now. We got 10 days, they're saying, whoever they are. I mean, really, we don't know who they are. Of sunshine, highs in the 50s and 60s. Still cleaning up from the ice storm. Just getting rid of some garbage out here. Just freaking piles everywhere. Stuff that I just shoved off the trails. We got piles of cedar branches that need to be chipped. Probably not going to get around to that for quite a while. Check this out. Sarah left yesterday and I just had a couple hours, so I remember my log pile, my garbage log pile that's been here forever. Well, it's amazing the things you can do with a machine like that when you've spent years looking at stuff and you know, you have this idea that flits through your brain. It's like, yeah, that's not something I have the energy for. Like digging out 30 huge rocks in order to flatten the whole area out and separate the logs. Anyway, you guys know how I make videos. I don't make like how-to, but of course there's like some how-to thrown in when you do a 30, 40, 60-minute video every week. There's sometimes information in the video that's not in the title or the thumbnail or the description or anything. And then as the years go by, people ask me about it. So this video, I thought we'd put some information from past videos all together in the beginning of this, or near the beginning, or maybe not. And then at least when people ask in the future, we can just send them to that one video. I think in the next couple days, we're gonna have the big old fly hatch. I'm starting to see a couple of them here and there. And now that it's warm, it's just a matter of maybe minutes before the ticks come out. Do you see how I naturally just came and sat here like I was about to do something? Not right now, not right now. I started Kuiper on his flea and tick meds about a month ago. So he should be good, except that the ticks will still get on him. The way I understand it is, you know, the medication's in the dog's bloodstream, the ticks get on there, they bite him, and then they fall off. But of course that can happen once he's inside at night and then the ticks are in the cabin. So I prefer if they don't get on him at all. So we're gonna get out the tick granules. We're gonna do all of camp with the spreader. Then I'm gonna haul out all my clothes. We're gonna mix up some permetherin. Oh yeah, and bug sprays I've used over the years. Folks like you, if you like to go outside and recreate or just in your yard, you can at least get some ideas of what works for a nutball like me. See if we got any granules left. Ah, you know what? We got to make one more pile of brush here and then we'll get to it. I like to put it right by the fire pit so every time I walk by I can just throw something on. I think we're gonna have to chop up this big log that's been in the way for a couple years. It's just gonna make piles here and then winch them out of here with the 4-wheeler towards the fire pit, but this thing's gonna be in the way. Funny with those aspens, you can smell the wood, at least when it's not super clear. I can tell there's a little bit of rot in it, so I don't know if that's going to do us any good. Well, hey, you know what? We're going to have to get the digger and see if it'll pick those logs up. I don't know where we're going to put them. Couple tricks I've learned on this thing to keep from tipping over. Obviously, You got to get really close to a heavy thing to pick it up, and then you carry it in as close as you can. And this is the control that opens the bucket. So you drive with one hand and you keep the other one ready to go. If you start tipping, smash it over. This is the grading blade, which really, if you want to grade with this thing, you also have to drive with one hand like this, stick the other one underneath and consistently move that. But if you keep that just skimming off the ground when you got a heavy load on there, and then if you start going, the blade will catch you. But just to be clear, I've never come close to tipping this thing over. It's easier in ways to do this with the excavator. The excavator can just pick all these up at once, but it takes so long to drive it. Even just to go around the wood pile here and then back to the fire pit a couple times would be half the day. Crazy when an ATV winch is faster than driving a piece of machinery. All right, anybody remember what the point of this video was? More stuff to do with the digger. Now that it's almost summer, I gotta get his dog bed out of the sun, and we gotta finish it, put some kind of awning on there. If you remember when I built it, put those eyelets on there so you can pick it up with the digger. I know, get to the point of the video. I can't help it. Thinking maybe we set it right there, and instead of having to make a solar shade with like 4 legs on it, we could just attach 2 corners to the man cave. I think that'd be pretty good. Okay, granules, here we go. So I don't go all over the entire property and put this stuff out, but right around camp is where I do it. And as you probably remember, like maybe every month or two, it's probably 3 times a year. Just get one of these cheapo spreaders, turn it on basically as low as it goes, or at least this one. I'm not picky on the brand. I find they all work. This is 7, this is Ortho. Anything that shows ticks on there won't harm plants, blooms, or lawns. Listen, everybody has to make their own decision about what they smear all over. I don't like the chemicals. I can hear it in my brain. It does kill some other bugs. Make your own decision, but can't have ticks on me when I'm sleeping. This one's a little dustier than the others. I don't know if it's because the bottom of the bag or what. If I was doing anything other than trying to defend myself against ticks, I would kind of like to do this a little more scientifically, because I put permetherin on all my clothes and I put this stuff out in the summer, so I really don't know which one is doing the most work. It would also be really hard to break it up into 2 separate treatment groups and have a control group, because you can't do like a third, and a third of the property. You can't really do it different times of the year. Like you can't spread this stuff in the spring and then don't put it on and only permetherin your clothes in the end of the year because you don't know when the ticks are out. I think every year that I've been out here, I've done both of these, and I generally put them out. I don't think about it because in the springtime I'm busy with all sorts of other stuff cleaning up from the winter, but I'll find 1 tick on me and the next day I'll do all this stuff. You know, if you use DEET, I'm pretty sure DEET works, and Alethrin, no. We'll look at the spray cans. If you use those regularly, that protects against ticks too. But you know, you get up early on a summer day, there are no mosquitoes out, so you don't spray your stuff, the ticks get on you, it's too late. And believe me, I've considered eating a little piece of Kuiper's Next Guard, get some of that stuff in my system so they just fall off. So the area of camp here that I do is probably half an acre to an acre, and I can do it all with 2 to 3 fill-ups of that hopper. So it's really not much at all that you spray out there. Just do a very light dusting, and then I think that stuff doesn't kick off until it rains. Don't apply during a rain, but it does say water treated area as directed on the label. Do not water to the point of runoff. So you're just basically giving it a light dusting, a dusting of water. That makes sense, right? And then don't let your kids eat the dirt until the treated area has dried. I don't know if you'll be able to see in the sun how little is coming out of this thing. I go down the trails, spray it one direction that way, the other direction on the way back. Takes almost nothing. That was from the digger all the way over and out into the woods where Kuiper does his business. Still have that much left. You know, I just realized there's a Phillips right there. Got an idea. Pretty good chance I'm gonna break this doing this, but that's all right. It's worth it. Might be fun. Can we kick it into high gear? That's a bad idea. Don't do it. Oh. Shouldn't have done that. We saw it coming, didn't we? That's good. Gotta guard against the carpal tunnels. Ryobi strikes again. Dude, that works great. When you get out in the sunshine, you could see this thing's flinging these things at least 20 feet. That is a good spread right there. Definitely got to ease into the trigger, not just blast it, because you strip that thing out pretty fast. I think I did a couple times. Maybe it just skipped on here. I imagine the little plastic pieces in there were getting pretty hot. Well, that was quick and easy. Try to remember to do that for the rest of the summer. All right, what's next? Clothes. Let's mix up some permetherin. Crap, I forgot that the ice storm took down my clothesline. I don't know if it's busted or what. Oh yeah, I forgot I didn't put this back up because can't drive the digger under it and bring stuff over here to burn. I'll just use the other pit. Wow, I don't know if that should have been left in the sun quite so long. I think it was a lighter shade before. So sorry, you guys have heard this year after year, I'm sure. The stuff that I used to buy to treat my clothes is the yellow bottle you can find at pretty much every store made by Sawyer. Active ingredient, permetherin 0.5%. Let's see how much those cost. If you get a really good deal and you buy 2 bottles, it's $16 a bottle. This is from Tractor Supply, livestock and premise spray, which you're supposed to water down. And this is 10% permetherin. So you want to mix this 20 to 1. I have to overdo things, so I do 10 to 1. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but previously I was putting this stuff on pretty thick on my clothes, which seems to work just fine, except unless you're charging through brush, rubbing along trees, where the ticks are just waiting to fall on you. If you're just walking around like this, where everything's pretty well cleared out, most likely the ticks are gonna climb up on your shoes, go up your socks, under your pant legs. So I'd spray my socks pretty heavily. And when this is double power and you really dose your socks, I remember a couple times sweating really heavily while I was working, like the day after I soaked my socks, and my ankles did start to itch a little bit. So take that for what it's worth, you know, mix it 20 to 1, spray it like you're normally supposed to, should be just fine. So this bottle right now, 16 ounces, sells for 25 bucks. I think it was a lot cheaper when I got it. So if you buy the stuff at the normal store, it's 66 cents an ounce. If you mix your own, it's under 8 cents an ounce. But if you don't go through a lot of it, you don't do it multiple times a year, you don't do all your clothes, maybe it's not worth it. That's what I recall. It's about a tenth the price to mix your own. And you can buy clothes that are pre-treated with permetherin. I think the permetherin's put in it when they make the fibers. You might want to check me on that, but it can last, the permetherin in those clothes can last for years. And this lasts I don't know exactly how long, but through multiple washes. You don't have to spray this every time you wash your clothes. The ogre just stuck his head out. He got mouth mud all over my clean socks. Go away, ogre. Go away. Oh, you know what else we need to do is get out the Thermacells and refill all the pads on those and all the butanes. Oh, my old spray bottle's going out. It's more of a splatter than a spritz. And that's why I save old spray bottles. And you never be afraid to wipe your hands on your clothes. Whether you mix that 10 to 1 or 20 to 1, if you dilute it more and you put twice as much on, it's exactly the same thing. I think you could use full tang permetherin if you could mist it finely enough. I think the water's just, what's the word in chemistry? It's like the carrier for the permetherin. Then of course you have to wait for all the water to evaporate. So probably the best way to get a nice even coat on everything is to dilute it way down and then just hose your, you could probably just dip them in a bucket, mostly water, let them hang for 2-3 days to dry out. That jug is for livestock. It's been okayed by some governing group to use on animals. Sarah always sprays Ruby with this stuff before she brings her up in the summertime. She's such a freaking lowrider. She's a tick mop. But you can just spritz it on your dog and rub it in through all their fur. It seems to work quite well. Okay, this is the last time I'm going to say it. Sorry if you've heard this all before. You know I use these Thermacells all the time in the summer, and they're basically the only way I can stay out here when the bugs are too bad. Yes, you can cover yourself in bug spray and treat your clothes and everything, but you know, you take a shower, you get clean, and then you have to be outside for a few minutes and you just get eaten alive. Especially when it's super hot and you can't have long clothes on. So if you don't know, there's a few, I don't know how many different kinds there are now. Some of these are pretty old. I think these are the basicest ones. They're quite cheap. And they all just use this little cardboard pad in here. I think they say this lasts about 4 hours. When they're fresh, they're quite blue, and then as they wear out, they turn white. Inside here is a little butane cartridge. And I'm not bad-mouthing anybody, but just like with inkjet printers, you know, you get the printer real cheap, and then the company, I think, makes their money on selling you the ink cartridge. My guess is that's sort of the business model. Let's see, I'm pretty sure they say a pad is 4 hours and a butane cartridge is 12 hours. If that's true, then one of these boxes should give you 3 times as many pads. What's 8 times 3? I hope it comes out to be that number, and then I'll be right. But since I run these things for months and months and months, all the time, I refill them, refill the butane and the pads. So when this is in the Thermacell, I don't know if you can hear it or not, There's a little pin up inside here that presses down on this, and then when you flip the switch on, it lets the gas out. Once these things run out, let's see if I have any empty ones. I always write R on it for refill. That means it's already been refilled once. This one hasn't yet, so we can do that one. So all you have to do, you don't want to mar this metal part up too much. I mean, there is a rubber O-ring, but still don't want to screw it up too bad. Pop that metal piece out of there. I dunged it up a little bit, but that's not going to be a problem. And then inside here, there's a rubber one-way valve, which is actually remarkably easy to get out of there. Just take a screw of any kind. Oh, there was some left in there. So you don't have to worry about ruining that little thing in there that gets thrown out. I think, I'm not sure, but I think that piece is in there just so you can't refill these. I've seen online people put these back in here, like put a dab of super glue before they press it back in. I've never done that. This has a whole bunch of little barbs on here, which I'm sure is meant to seal. And let's see if we've got any in here. Yeah, I mean, I refill these in the fall before I put them all away, and I've never had one leak. I don't super glue them, so if you want to, you can. And all you have to do is press that back in there. That's it. Now it's refillable. Now the only thing that's a trick to any of this is the tip. Most people I've seen refill these. This is the stuff you buy wherever. This will probably refill, I could do the math, but you know, I probably won't, because this is in milliliters, this is in ounces and grams. I don't know, you can figure it out. I got tired of buying these for however much they are, $5, $6, $8 or something. These are the butane cans that go with the camp stove. I think I bought like an 8 or a 12 pack for, I'm just guessing, $20 or something on Amazon. And this will fill a lot of these suckers. You can see the difference. A lot of times when you buy these butane cans, they come with a whole bunch of different nozzles. I don't know if this one did. I don't even know why I have this one. But little extension adapter tips that go on here. You just have to find one that fits down in there. Take a razor blade and just cut like a little V out of the very top of it. I've had this tip that I got to work many years ago, and I just keep using the same one. I hope I never lose it. Push it in, it's filling it right up. There's some thought that because you're filling this with liquid, you get some gas in here that you need to displace. I don't think that makes any sense, because this is nothing but a compressed gas. But if you get to a point where this thing won't refill anymore, you can try letting some of the air out of it, the gas out of it. You see it boil immediately. So I don't think it makes any sense, but do what you want. That's the wrong one. Let's see if that one works. Nope, it doesn't quite fit. Not only has the spray down in there, but that little valve has to be pushed down at the same time. That might be why you need to nick the tip of this. There you go, refilled. You're good for 12 hours on one of those. Okay, I just learned something. This one was not filling, or it was filling very slowly, but it was pretty much empty. I pulled this out, hissed it, and then it filled right up. So I guess you can get some pressure built up in there. Let's try it again. I don't know, maybe it does work. If you haven't used one of these before, turn this on, push the button, and then there's a little window on the end, and it actually burns a little tiny flame in there, and then it takes, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll see a little bit of a steam smoke come off of this thing. They're really freaking ingenious, and they work very well. This slight upgrade says MR450, MR300. I don't know what all the models are now, but I think the only difference, it looks, you know, it looks like it's very tactical. It's got rubber grips and whatnot, but it has a light on here that when this thing's up to temperature, it'll glow blue. And it's kind of handy because sometimes you light it, you wonder why you're getting eaten alive. With this one, you can glance down and see if it's actually hot and working. I think they're the original pads. Had the greatest smell. I would bathe in this stuff if I could. Seems like in the last several years they went to scent free, which makes sense if you're a hunter or something. You don't want all that perfume wafting down where the animals are going to be. And then they have like an earth scented one or something. But I thought it smelled good, and it also tells your nose, tells your brain that the thing is on and working. Tito and I think, have both at separate times written the company to find out where we get the original scent and haven't been able to track them down. Sarah said she thought it smelled like Palo Santo, and I thought it also had a lemony smell, so got Palo Santo oil and lemongrass. So every time I use up one of these pads, I throw it in a little bin, I save them all, and then I refill them all a whole bunch of times. So after a while, they do get, some of these need to be chucked. This one's a little bit used up. But these come filled with alethrine, or I think they use a new similar chemical, permetherin. All these ethrins are related, alethrine, permetherin. I think they're all synthetic versions of pyrethrin, which is a chemical in the chrysanthemum flower, which apparently has been used for an insecticide, I don't know, 3,000 years or something. You might want to double check everything I'm saying because it's been a while since I've read about this stuff. Got a little squirt bottle. I think it was like a glasses lens cleaner bottle. Washed it out. Wow, it is, maybe it's time to replace this thing. Just like when you put this on your t-shirts, this is an oil. You're trying to get this evenly dispersed on your clothes, and you want it evenly dispersed on here, so you're mixing it with water, shaking it up, spraying it, and letting them dry. If you put too much on here, I've seen people use a little dropper like this, like an old Visine bottle. Don't get them mixed up. Once the pad's used up, just put one drop right on it, and it does work, but a Thermacell has a pretty hard time vaporizing a blob of oil on one of these pads. I fill this up 9/10 of the way with water, 1/10 permethrin, and then I put a drop of blue food coloring in it, just so I can see that these pads are recharged. You can see it's a slightly different color. After you've done this multiple times on a pad, it'll just be blue all the time. And then, I like to add a drop. You can put a drop of anything you want on there. Here, this pad you can see is pretty well used up. Other side's quite charred. You can use these for a couple hours and then flip them over in the machine too. Give it 3 or 4 spritzes on one side, 3 or 4 on the other side. Leave them like that for a couple hours until they dry out. You're good to go again. I think that's it with the Thermacells. That's how you can refill them for free, basically free. You buy a bottle like this, it'll last you your entire life. In my experience, nothing works quite as well or vaporizes quite as well as the original pads. So if you don't mind spending, I don't know how much they are, $1.50 or something on a pad, and you're only going to use it a few times a summer, I wouldn't bother with all the refilling. Smell free. What you could do, if you can only find the smell free ones and you want to be able to tell if it's on, get an essential oil, mix it with mostly water, spray it on there, let it dry. Yeah, I would at least do that. Also, as far as bug sprays, I use this. It actually says tick defense. These both, I believe, work for basically the same bugs. This is Picaridin DEET. Picaridin actually works quite well. It smells nice. It doesn't have quite the sticky, gross feeling that DEET does. And I use this almost exclusively for, I think, a couple years out here, and what I found is it just doesn't last as long as DEET. I remember one summer out here using this, spraying it on in the morning. By lunchtime, I was like, man, I'm getting bit. Maybe I have to put more on. And finally putting it together, it was like maybe 3 hours, 4 hours, and it would start wearing off. And then I went back to DEET, tried it, and I would be good for the majority of the day. At most, I'd have to put this on twice. Of course, they're diminishing returns. You go from 5% DEET up to, you can buy 100% DEET. And I think after, I want to say it's about 30%, it could be 40. As you get into even higher and higher concentrations, you're not repelling more bugs. What you get is that it lasts a little bit longer on your skin. More or less, I buy 30 to 40% DEET. You can get them in like 2 packs. A couple cans of this last me a long time. The only one advantage that I've found to higher concentrations like the 100% DEET is that there's no metal can, there's no propellant. So if you're backpacking or something like that, you don't have as much to carry. And then, you know, when you're done with it, you don't have a big, sort of heavy, relatively heavy thing to pack around with you until you're done with your trip and get back to the car. Is there anything else I can tell you about bugs? Bug spray, bug repellent? There is one more thing. Just stay there for 1 sec. I'm doing a lot of free plugs for companies today. This is something I'd seen online for years, had no idea if they work, still don't really know if it works. But a week ago, it looked like we were gonna have that big fly hatch. You know the one I'm talking about? There's always one in the spring. They're like house flies, and they're just millions of them. And then it happens again in the fall around party week. God, do you remember party week last year when we were out by the lake? We took a whole stack of fly swatters and everybody was just swinging the whole time. What was the record? I think I killed 7 flies in 1 swing. Anyway, we should have had a whole bunch of these. You ever seen these things? It's called bug assault. You fill the top up, the little hopper, with just regular old table salt. Every year I think about getting one of these online, and I think the reason I never have is they're kind of spendy. I think this is like 50 bucks. And it just looks like, it looks like a Nerf gun. It doesn't seem worth that kind of money. It is plastic, but it weighs about twice as much as you'd think. It's got a very strong spring in it. And of course, the first thing I did, I shot it once and then thought, how hard is that actually shooting? Did it about this far away on my hand, and it actually stung for 20 minutes. I would hate to think of putting that right up to your skin and pulling the trigger. I don't know what it would do. But come on. I finally get this thing, and where are the flies? I only found like 3 to shoot so far. I didn't read too much in the box, but it looks like the effective range is, you know, probably a foot or 2 would be great. And you might be able to hit something from 3 feet away, but, you know, you can get a foot away from a fly before they get spooked. So you'll be seeing a lot more of this summer. If it works, I'll let you know. If it falls apart, I'll let you know. But man, it seems like if it didn't break, you could kill a lot of flies with this thing. All right, I'm gonna finish filling these butanes up, and then we got a couple other fun things to do around here. Oh, this thing's turned on. I forgot. If it's really calm, you can see the steam coming off of this thing. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. I can't even tell which way the wind's going right now. You can probably see it's up to temperature. See the blue light in there? Kind of handy. And I do like turning this thing on and just leaving it right there. I think this is actually a piece of packaging. I just put a couple screws in. Works great in the shower. When I turn the burner on, start my water, you know, in the summer it only takes 5, 6, 8 minutes to get up to temperature. That's when I click that thing on. And then when I come in here to shower, I can actually open the whole front up, even if it's mad with mosquitoes out there, and you're just fine. I think I'm switching to 1 to 15. We'll get closer to what you're supposed to do. Okay, ready? Here's the best part. Can you see it? Mix it with water, it turns white. Chemistry, you know what I mean? 1 to 15. 2 ounces. Okay, we just have to have a little leftover cheese dip lunch. And then we got one more fun thing to do. So anybody that was just here for the bug formation, you may go now. You're set free. There will be no more talk of mosquito salves or potions today. It's been quite a few days. Sorry, you really shouldn't talk with your mouth full. I'm so hungry. It's been a lot of days since we finished draining the deer castle and putting in that little ATV bridge, and I haven't been back down there since, but we've had 5, 6, 7 days with no rain. I really want to see how much, remember how bad that mud was? I was scooping it out of the trench and plopping it in the middle of the trail, and you couldn't even walk through it. I really want to go see what it looks like, if it's going to firm up into an actual trail, and we might be able to grade that out a little bit, if it's drivable. Go ahead, you eat something too. Crap, you know what else I need to do? My dad's coming day after tomorrow. He hasn't been up here in like a year, and he's been practicing his 22 shooting. So he wants to do a little plinking down there, and all those ice storm trees are still on the range. And since we're driving down there, ooh, yeah, I'm not driving this thing down that hill. Well, we could go around that way, but then I need my chainsaw. We've already got the machine, so I wouldn't have to do all the heavy lifting, which is why I need to make my chainsaw holder for this thing and for the ATV. I'll put that on my list. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll figure it out. Can't be that hard to plunge cut a log and bolt it on there. Oh man, I forgot I really wanted to try making a snowman today, but I think I have to do it with somebody else here, because even if you can lift the rocks with the digger, I think placing them just right, or like when you let go of the rock, I think we're gonna have somebody there like guiding it. So I want to use those big ones and make them like as tall as that thing will go. Got some SGU to dig her to, that's great. The ground's pretty firm. I don't even know what to do with this stuff since I'm not going to take care of it right now. Just cut it in a couple pieces and pile it up somewhere. It really hasn't been that long since the ice storm. It's amazing how different everything looks. Dag nabbit, these are probably easier to move by hand. What a drag. I could have at least not parked the digger in the way, I guess. Kuiper just realized he can see the cabin from here and took off at a full run. Looks like he's sitting right at the cabin. See where we are and where he is. He hasn't been beeped in a while. Let's beep him. Go boy. Go boy. Sorry, I don't have any treats. Oh boy. And he's down. I just lost the tripod for like a full 2 minutes. Looking through here in the middle, all these little suckers kind of disappeared. Have to chop those down too, but I guess for now you can still see the targets. That wasn't too bad. I thought there were a lot more trees down. I guess when they were covered in 1.5 inches of ice, it looked a lot bigger. Not too bad, not too bad. Well, let's see. Still got some squish. Completely dry down there, which is a good thing. Needs most of the waters out of this. What I don't really want is long-term puddles like this. I guess it doesn't really matter too much down here if we're breeding mosquitoes, because they're not going to get back up to camp. But standing water is not our friend. Oh yeah, I forgot that if I want to grade that side of it, I got to drive around. Unless, do you think this little bridge would hold the digger? Because it's the other side that needs the grading, really. I think it would be all right. That's the 1-ton test right there. I say let's do it. What's the worst that happens? We'll keep the bucket down in front so it can't roll over forward. If it breaks it, it breaks it. Plus we'll know for future bridges if this kind of construction's enough to hold that thing. It's gonna be fine, right? It's only 2,000 pounds plus me and gas or whatever. I guess we could flatten this just a titch on our way. That was not nearly a problem. It's absolutely impossible to stop doing this. If there's a rock that doesn't squish down, the whole machine rolls over it and you stop, pick it up, move out of the way. But there's such great muck at the bottom of the trench now that I'm just making another mess. Keep digging it up and kind of smoothing everything out with it. Still has muck. Scoop the muck. I think that's all we can do. Yeah, just going down and back and down and back and scooting over a little every time. I of course want to pack down this little berm that's along the edge of the trench, but I noticed, excuse me. Oh dude, that's got prickers on it, you dum-dum. No, you don't care. Yeah, I noticed when I drive too close to the edge, the weight pushing down is narrowing up the trench. But that's fine, because it means I can come back later and dig it back out. I think overall, that actually did a pretty good job. Look how flat it is. Pretty good, right? I'm thinking. I'm trying not to think, but I am thinking. If I get like a week or two without much rain and this dries out, I'll come back, just blade it just a little bit, And then if we're gonna get a couple days of like light rain, come out here with my spreader, put a little grass seed on this, and it does really do a lot to hold the trail together. This trail is going to be used for centuries to come, and it'll be in great shape after this year. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Oh, you're too muddy to be on my jacket. Get up, you beast. Ugh. What are you gonna do? What's your plan? What are you doing? Oh. All right, well, we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching. If you just tuned in for the bug part of the video, sorry you had to watch all this. Should we go? What do you think? Should we go? Think about it. Take your time, think about it. Sucker. Should we just stay here? What do you think? I guess technically I'm in charge. And I say, let's go. Let's go.